Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening, sir. I don't think he can hear me. He can't. Chief Johnson, good evening, sir. All right. We just, of course, want to establish communication. It's great to have you tonight. We will be live in a bit. Hope you are enjoying our Abuja studio.
Yes, it's a nice place. It's my first time here.
And of course, we are delighted to have you, sir. We'll be live in a bit.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Good evening. Tonight on Politics HQ, these stories made our headlines. Let's start by telling you that the Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a fresh suit by Senator Samuel Anyanwu, who sought official recognition as the People's Democratic Party's National Secretary. Justice Mohammed Umar struck out the case after it was established that Anyawu's tenure had expired in December 2025, making the suit academic. Anyanwu had filed the case against INEC and former PDP acting chairman Mar Damagum, amongst others seeking to restrain the party and electoral body from recognizing rival leadership. Counsel for Anyanwu withdrew the case in court, while other parties called for costs. The judge ruled the matter be dismissed without cost, saying the situation was beyond anyone's control. This dispute follows Anyawu's failed return to the secretarial post after contesting the 2023 Imo State governorship election, where rival Sunday Ude Okoye claimed the position. Despite Supreme Court's ruling in 2025 reinstating Anyanwu, internal PDP factions continue to contest control, sparking ongoing leadership tension. Meanwhile, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has called for unity among opposition supporters, warning that attacks on former presidential candidate Peter Obi weaken the coalition and play into the hands of the ruling APC. Atiku said on social media that verbal attacks between supporters of opposition leaders do not serve Nigeria or its people, and urged cohesion as essential for advancing democracy and national development. The warning comes amidst rising tension in the ADC coalition, which gained momentum following high-profile defections, including Obi and Atiku themselves, who left their former parties to form a stronger opposition platform ahead of the 2027 polls. However, tonight on the program, our focus: NNPP leadership crisis as rival factions plan protest at INEC as Kwankwaso and Yusuf camp clash over governor's defection moves. Also, we'll switch gears to talk about the People's Democratic Party leadership crisis. Ahead of the Ekiti governorship poll, INEC releases final candidate list, PDP and SDP excluded. A bumper pack show tonight. Welcome once again. I am Ladipo Johnson. Let's get the answers. The Nigeria People's Party has publicly disowned a planned protest against the Electoral Commission, describing the organizers as individuals no longer recognized within its ranks. At the heart of this dispute is a long-running leadership tussle, complicated by court rulings and rival claims of legitimacy. The party insists that the protest is illegal, pointing to a federal high court judgment that upheld the expulsion of those behind the demonstrations. Yet, the controversy raises broader questions. Part of it includes how do internal divisions within political parties shape their ability to engage with institutions like INEC, for instance? And what does this mean for Nigeria's wider democratic process? Well, joining me to discuss this now is Ladipo Johnson, the National Publicity Secretary of the NNPP, joins from our Abuja studio live. Thank you for your time. It's great to have you. All right, now let's get straight into the heart of the matter. The planned protest organized by individuals who, of course, claim to be members of your party. Who are these persons, and what exactly is the objective or the motive behind the protest?
Thank you. I believe that you know them well. They've been on your program several times. They're people who are with Dr. Boniface Anebunam, who was one of the founders of the party. Unfortunately, as you well know, over the past year and a bit more, the issues that happened, they were suspended and then expelled. They went to court. They've been to court on several occasions, and the courts have upheld the fact that they were expelled, and that the court of the Federal High Court, Lagos, Abuja, as per Honorable Justice Wite, actually listed names and said they were no longer members of the party. Now, they haven't appealed that judgment, so the judgment is still subsistent. So I think the crux of it was that there was a matter that they filed in Abuja High Court that we were not aware of which they probably fictitious things, that the party hadn't held meetings, things happened, and that the court should turn over the control of the party to a board of trustees headed by Dr. Anebunam. This the court did. Now, when we approached the courts, they were there. We came after we heard about it. And the court set that ruling aside because we were not served, and a lot of things that were in their affidavit were found to be false. So it was set aside. They have now appealed that. They are the Court of Appeal, Owerri Division. Now, in the midst of that, they now brought a suit in Abuja again, stating that they want a judicial review of something you are on appeal about. You understand? Now, that will be heard. I do not want to prejudice that because it hasn't been heard in Abuja here. But that is it. And now they tried, I think, to put on some pressure. They've written letters to INEC that INEC should obey or should effect that default judgment of Abuja. Not saying the whole thing, that it has been set aside by the same judge and that they are appealing it. You see? So they come to studios, they come to press offices and release press statements saying that they have a ruling or a judgment or an order from Abuja High Court. But they don't tell people that the same order has been set aside by the same judge. So, you know, if it were not laughable, you know, it would be painful because of the abuse of court process. But in any event, to go back to your question, that is why I believe, I'm not sure, I believe they felt they had to have demonstrations in front of INEC to tell INEC recognize us.
Okay, but still on this matter, sorry to interrupt your line of thought, but I mean, what we also understand is that this planned protest has also been cancelled. I mean, according to what we understand, of course, the cancellation was done via a statement signed by its founder and chairman, Board of Trustees, Dr. Boniface Anibunam, said that, in spite of its determination to get INEC to comply with court orders regarding the authentic leadership of the party, it realized that it should not be at the detriment of the nation. And another reason it gave for cancelling the protest is to avoid it being hijacked by hoodlums and political rivals who, of course, have an objective to instigate disorder. What is your reaction to this?
Joke, when we heard about it, I issued a press release saying that we have nothing to do with this, INEC. If we have a country where some people for the past year and a half to 2 years would go around, you understand, saying that they are NNPP, and you all know, the press inclusive, Dapo, you all know that looking at the regulator, which is INEC, their names are not there. Their logo is not there. Yet you keep calling them a faction. You understand, you are the ones giving them oxygen. So that is, it's so laughable. And when I read it, I just started to laugh. When I read the statement signed by Dr. Anibunam, I just started to laugh. Because as I said, I will not let such things frustrate me. Because if it were in saner times, right now, these people would have been picked up for, what do you call it? All sorts of things that they've been doing. It's as simple as that. They can go to court. You understand? I've said it. Let's put an end to this thing. They have a right to go to court.
All right.
And in fact, they are in court. They don't have a judgment or something that says they are the ones. That is why I...
Mr. Ladipo Johnson, I mean, you've said quite a number of things, but would take a bit of a detour from the conversation right now to go beyond our borders, to go to Washington, D.C., where President Donald Trump is given a speech from the White House as regards his first year in office. Take a listen.
We're doing all of it's built here. We want them to be built here. A lot of the Canadian auto plants are closing and they're moving into the United States. Same thing with Mexico, same thing with Germany, and same thing with Japan and other countries. They're moving into the United States because of tariffs. Because they don't want to pay the tariffs. It's too much. They can't pay the tariffs. So they're coming here. Nothing different than what other smart countries did. But it works better for us under my leadership. It's not done properly, but it's done properly. We have, again, more plants being built than at any time in the history of our country. Passed the largest spending cuts in American history, and that was true in my first, we had a tremendous first term also. We rebuilt our military. We had one of the best. We had the best economy in the history of our country, but we're blowing it away now. When this stuff starts opening up, you're not going to see anything like it probably ever again. We slashed the federal budget deficit by 27% in a single year. Think of that, 27. You could do it 2%, 1%, 0.5%, 27%. And that's with all of the things we have to do, all of the people we have to put on the payroll to get rid of people that are murderers. Again, when you see people in Minnesota that are murderers, these people are fighting to keep them there. And I say to Christie and to Tom Homan, the great people, they're working so hard. Look at the border. The border is now secure. First time, Biden said you couldn't do it. You need legislation. I had no legislation. I said close the border. Within 1 month, we had almost nobody coming in. Now for the last 8 months, nobody came into our country illegally. And I find that hard to believe because you'd think somebody, because it used to be millions of people just poured into our country. And the people that do that are Democrat sort of aligned. So, I mean, they're not doing me any favors. We had nobody come in. We have a very strong border. We have very few people coming up. They're not going to make the trek because they know they probably won't be coming in. So it's not as hard as you think. But I didn't have to go back. Remember, they said, we need legislation to close the border. They had millions of people coming in a month. We have nobody coming in, and we're getting the murderers out. Murderers, people from prisons and jails, Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped them into the United States. Those are the people who are getting out. And we have a lot of heart. I said, you gotta lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people, and they're working now on farms, and they're working in luncheonettes and hotels and all. And we're looking to get the criminals out right now, the criminals. And I think it's very important. I mean, every once in a while you see a story, we take somebody, he should be out because they came in illegally. So in theory they should be, but we're focused on the murderers, the drug dealers, the mentally insane. We have a lot of mentally insane killers. I mean, you can't even talk to them. It'd be nice if you could have a little reason, but you can't even reason. These are seriously ill people. You have a couple of countries where they were loaded up, their mental institutions and insane asylums were loaded to the gills. They couldn't get, they're empty now. But they're filling up because we're bringing them all back. We know where they came from. And every country accepts them. You know, under Biden, they wouldn't say, they had so little respect that they'd bring them there and they wouldn't take them. They say, get the hell out of here. They would be bringing a plane in to land in a country, and they'd put 5 planes on the runway so you couldn't land the plane. So they'd come back with the people that they were bringing back. They don't do that with me. They do that with me, they have problems. They don't do it, they accept them back. They're not happy about it, but they accept them back. Cut a record number of regulations. I promised to eliminate 10 old regulations for every one new regulation. Instead, we cut 129 old regulations for each one added. Think of that. I wanted to do 10. My first 4 years I did, when we put on a new regulation, you had to cut 8. This year I said you have to cut 10. Instead, we cut 129. So every time, so far, can't remain like that, I don't imagine. I hope I can, because we have so much wasted regulation, stupid regulations. Regulations where they go by California, which is a disaster state, with a governor that truly is doing a bad job. He's killing that state. If he ever ran the country, this country would be Venezuela very quickly. Using tariffs slash the U.S. trade deficit by an incredible 77%. The trade deficit is down, and that doesn't include the last month where we had our best month. We slashed the trade deficit by an incredible 77% in 1 year with no inflation, something that everyone said could not be done. So we had essentially no inflation. In fact, the last month we had almost no inflation. But we slashed.
What you are seeing live on your screen right now is President Trump addressing the nation and the world at large. His first year in office, his second term, in office, but the first year. And of course, he's speaking from the White House ahead of Davos trip. Now, just a highlight of some of the things that he has spoken about and he has achieved 1 year in office. Let's, of course, talk about he spoke about his immigration achievement, where since he assumed office, he has been able to a very large extent, rid America of illegal migrants, where he even said that some are criminals and mentally unstable. Trump also went further to highlight his tariffs, where, of course, he did announce plans to impose tariffs on European nations opposing his Greenland plans, amongst others. There's also the issue of tax cut, where Trump promoted his tax bill, highlighting new exemptions on trip earnings, amongst a series of other issues. Well, this is the beat we'll be able to take. Up next is a break. When we return, the show continues. Stay with us, we'll be right back. You're still watching Politics HQ on News Central Television, and of course we are looking at the politics and internal crisis within the the NNPP. I have, of course, the National Publicity Secretary's guest this evening, joining from our Abuja studio, Ms. Ladipo Johnson. It's great to have you still with us. Thank you for staying. Now, let's look forward. Now, there are a lot of questions, even though we know that, yes, what is happening within the NNPP as an opposition party in itself is not peculiar. Other opposition parties are also having their own, many of them are having their own internal issues. But looking at all of this that is happening and your chances as a political party ahead of 2027 polls, are you confident that the party will stabilize, in terms of all of these legal hurdles and be eligible ahead of 2027?
The party, over the last few years, has remained eligible because, as I said, there are no legal barriers to where we're at. The leadership is not in doubt. There is no faction. Now, with what is happening in Kano, now that is different. That is a different issue. And we have a situation where the only governor elected by the people, the only governor of the party elected by the people, probably has decided that he wants to move to the APC. And the national leadership of the party feels that it is not the right time either to move to the APC or any other party, for that matter, at this moment in time. And the party is not asleep. We're holding talks, we're meeting different groups, different parties, and seeking to strengthen the base of the party and the probably alliances or whatever we want to do with the party towards 2027. So this is ongoing. And of course, on the other side, you have the issue of the governor of Kano, who says he wants to move. But to your question, I am confident. Yes, it is a hiccup, but based on our history, I am confident that in 2027, we will emerge even stronger and be victorious in more than one state, in whatever state the party is.
All right, Mr. Johnson, and that takes me to the question of Kano State, where the rumors of the defection of the governor, and I would like you to speak extensively on this, because we also understand that Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is not even in support of this. And for many, they feel that should the governor exit the party, this will be a bloody nose. Do you think this is this will be the case? How would the NNPP, for instance, survive should the governor choose to leave?
Fantastic. Let us assume that the governor chooses to leave, right? We hope he doesn't. But let us assume he's virtually out now, that he leaves. Then you look at our history. When I say our history, there is no doubt that we joined the NNPP in 2022, a year before the last general election. Now, before that time, the movement, the Kwankwaso movement, was able to, in 2019, win that election. When I say win, it is in quotes, and we're talking about Kano. And that was from a position where they didn't have a councillor, a chairman, member, House of Reps, House of Assembly, senator, or sitting governor. They were able to win. But, of course, INEC came up with the inconclusive. The rest is history. Somehow Ganduje got back for his second term. Now, fast forward to 2023. The candidate again was Kabir Yusuf. And we had no one, no officer in situ in Kano. And yet we came, as we say, from zero to win the state. So if the governor leaves, we hope he doesn't. If he leaves the party, what will happen is that it is not an earthquake. I'm sorry to say, in all humility and with greatest respect to the governor, it would not be an earthquake to the NNPP as also to the Kwankwaso movement. So you're saying categorically that should the governor choose to leave your party, the NNPP, it won't be, if I got your words correctly, an earthquake. You are saying that the impact won't be much. So maybe this will lead me to even ask. Hang on. It would be a hiccup. Because, hiccup? Yes.
What does that mean?
Excuse me. What I'm trying to say, Dapo, is that I will not say it doesn't matter. Of course it does. But we have already adjusted to that fact. We have already started work. In the past 2-3 weeks, we've started work since the rumors started.
So what kind of work have you put in place?
Is that in the same way that we were supported by the good Lord, able to get him elected as governor when we had no one in government there. By God's grace, in 2027, whatever form we are in, whether standing alone as NNPP or being part of one party or the other, we will win, by God's grace, Kano State.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Before I let you go, let's look at the relationship between the current governor and Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. I mean, all seemed to be well and rosy. But the question on the lips of many is, what seemed to have fallen apart? What made the governor? What happened that the governor suddenly said, you know what, I'm leaving the NNPP to move to another party?
I think that, they've been together probably before 1999. But politically speaking, since 1999. He was Senator Kwankwaso's assistant. They moved together to the Ministry of Defense. We moved with him all along. And of course, the rest is history. So they're virtually family. We all say we're a big family. Now, I can tell you categorically that the gentlemen are still on talking terms. They're still on talking terms. The national leader may not find the move of the governor palatable, but they're on talking terms. I do not think, and I do not believe, and nothing has made me think or feel that there was a push factor. I think there was a pull factor. And the same thing that may have caused other governors around the country to be moving to the APC or whatever might be what has pulled them.
All right.
That's what I mean by pull factor. But let me say one more thing, please.
Okay.
As an afterthought, and I say that because I've tried not to engage in any arguments, because as I say, we're all brothers, you understand? As I believe that it is an afterthought that the governor's people or the governor may be saying that, oh, it's because there are so many cases and they don't know what, that's not, because the governor is aware of all the cases that we have and he knows the extent to which these cases are. If it is in a normal country, these cases will go nowhere.
All right.
You understand? They've been tried and tried and tried. They will go nowhere. All of a sudden, you get something funny. So I don't think that is an excuse. I know they've said that that is an excuse, a reason why they want to move out, but it's not.
All right, thank you so much. Ladipo Johnson, the National Publicity Secretary of the NNPP, joining live from our Abuja studio. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be switching gears to talk about the People's Democratic Party and its internal crisis. Joining this conversation is Dixon Iroegbu. He's a member of the PDP. He joins Factory. Stay with us. We'll be right back.